The night rain fell like punishment from heaven. Thunder roared above the quiet Abuja estate, lightning flashing through the glass windows of a duplex on Hillview Drive. "Arnold, please, I'm begging you." May's voice cracked as she held her swollen belly. She was 6 months pregnant. Her white nightgown clung to her trembling body, soaked from tears and rainwater. Arnold stood by the door, his shirt half unbuttoned, face twisted with anger. "I said get out, May," he barked, grabbing her bag and throwing it into the rain. "You're nothing but a burden. I can't keep feeding a woman who can't even make me happy." May gasped. "But I'm carrying your child. You can't—" Before she could finish, Arnold shoved her shoulder so hard she fell to the tiled floor. A sharp pain shot through her side. She held her belly, whispering, "Please, don't. Please, baby, stay with me." He sneered. "You should have thought about that before acting like a queen in my house. I'm done." He opened the door wide. The wind howled, rain splashing into the living room. May stared at him in disbelief, her lips trembling. "Arnold, it's raining. Where do you want me to go?" "Anywhere but here," he shouted. "You think I don't know? You think I didn't see that transfer alert? Who's sending you money, huh? You think you can play me, May?" "I'm not stupid." May's eyes widened. "That was from my savings, Arnold. Please believe me." "Lies," he snapped, snatching her phone and throwing it against the wall. It shattered. "Now get out." He grabbed her arm and dragged her toward the door. "Arnold, please," she cried, struggling to stay upright, but he pushed her out into the cold night, her bare feet landing in muddy puddles. The door slammed shut behind her. May pounded weakly on it. "Please open the door. It's cold. I'm pregnant." But her voice was drowned out by thunder. She sank to her knees, hugging her belly. The rain soaked her hair, her tears mixed with water, and she whispered through shivers, "Why, Arnold? Why are you doing this to me?" Her mind spun. She had once believed Arnold was her peace. He had come into her life with sweet words and soft smiles. He had promised her safety and love. But now she was nothing more than a prisoner set free into the storm. She looked down the street. The estate was quiet, everyone asleep. No one to help. Her phone was broken. She had nowhere to go. She tried to stand but stumbled. Her body ached. Her baby kicked softly, as if asking, "Are we safe, Mama?" She wrapped her arms around her belly and whispered, "I'll protect you, I promise." Lightning flashed again, this time revealing a figure walking toward her through the rain. A man. He wore a dark coat, umbrella in hand. His car headlights glowed faintly behind him. "Madam, are you okay?" he called out, running closer. His voice was deep and warm, cutting through the noise of the storm. May blinked through the rain. She couldn't see clearly. Her eyes were heavy, her vision blurred. The man reached her and crouched down. "My God," he muttered, seeing her belly and pale face. "You're pregnant. Who did this to you?" She tried to speak, but her lips trembled too much. Her body shivered violently. He quickly took off his coat and wrapped it around her. "It's all right. You're safe now," he said gently. "My car is right there. Let's get you out of this rain." "Please, my baby," she whispered weakly. "I've got you," he assured, helping her stand. He half carried her to his black SUV, opened the back seat, and laid her gently inside. As he started the car, she murmured faintly, "What's your name?" "Jonathan," he replied, glancing at her in the rearview mirror. "Don't worry, I'll take you to the hospital." Before she could respond, her eyes fluttered shut. 2 years ago, May stood in front of her father's casket, surrounded by cameras and bodyguards. Her mother lay in another casket beside him. The air was heavy, the press whispering, "The Adebanjos, the richest family in Lagos." Gone in one night. May's fingers clenched the edge of her black gown. She was just 24 then, beautiful, brilliant, and heartbroken. A man whispered to her, "Miss May, we'll find who did this." But she shook her head. "You won't. They're powerful, too powerful." The rival company, Starline Holdings, had burned down her parents' car and made it look like an accident. There wasn't enough evidence, and so May walked away from everything. She left the mansion, the drivers, the private jets. She gave the managing director control of her parents' empire and left Lagos for Abuja, determined to start a simple life. She changed her name slightly to May Adams. No one would connect her to the Adebanjo legacy. In Abuja, she got a job at a bank. She was smart, humble, and quiet. Her colleagues admired her, and the manager trusted her deeply. That's where she met Arnold. He was charming at first, always bringing her coffee, helping her with reports, complimenting her kindness. He said he loved her for her simplicity. She believed him. She didn't know that behind his smile was greed, a man desperate to climb out of debt. In her current reality, May woke up to the sound of hospital machines beeping softly. Her body felt heavy but warm now. The rain had stopped. She opened her eyes slowly. Jonathan sat by her bedside, looking concerned. "You're awake," he said softly, relief washing over his face. "Where am I?" "City Care Hospital," he replied. "You collapsed. You and your baby are safe." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Thank you. Thank you so much." He smiled kindly. "You don't have to thank me. Just rest. You've been through enough." May looked at him closely, tall, calm, eyes full of something she hadn't seen in months. Genuine care. "Why did you help me?" she asked weakly. He shrugged slightly. "Because no one should be left in the rain like that, especially not a pregnant woman." For the first time in a long while, May felt safe. But deep down, she knew this peace wouldn't last. Because Arnold, the man who threw her out, was not finished with her yet. And the truth about who she really was about to change everything. The sun was already high when May opened her eyes again. Soft morning light poured through the hospital blinds, painting the white walls gold. Her hand instinctively moved to her belly. The baby kicked gently, and a faint smile appeared on her tired face. Then the door opened. Jonathan stepped in, holding a paper cup of tea. "Good morning, May." His voice was calm, warm. He placed the tea on the small table beside her bed. "How do you feel?" "Better," she said softly, though her voice trembled. "I don't even know how to thank you." He smiled. "You already did. By surviving." May let out a weak laugh, then her eyes turned distant. "I can't believe he really threw me out." Jonathan sat in the chair beside her. "Was that your husband?" She nodded slowly, tears threatening again. "Yes, we've been married for 2 years. I thought he loved me. I thought we'd raise our baby together, but—" Her voice cracked. She looked away. "He changed. He started shouting, hitting, accusing me of cheating. I stayed because I thought maybe he was just stressed." Jonathan's jaw tightened. "No woman deserves that, especially not when she's pregnant." May's eyes dropped to the cup of tea. "You sound like someone who's seen pain before." He gave a small smile. "Maybe I have." Then, after a moment, he added softly, "But I also know strength when I see it." She looked at him, eyes wide. For the first time, she felt like someone truly saw her, not as a wife, not as a victim, but as a person. Arnold sat at the dining table, scrolling through his phone. The sound of rainfall from the night before still echoed in his mind. He hadn't slept. He didn't care. "Serves her right," he muttered, sipping his coffee. "Always acting like she's better than me." He scrolled to his betting app, grinning when he saw his last game had won him 50,000 naira. He leaned back, laughing. "See, I don't need her. I can take care of myself." But his laughter stopped when his neighbor, Mr. Kalu, knocked and stepped in. "Morning, Arnold. Sorry to disturb you. I saw police lights last night. Everything okay?" Yeah, Arnold said casually. "Just some drama with my wife. She's gone." "Gone?" Mr. Kalu's eyebrows raised. "In that rain. You threw her out, but she's pregnant." Arnold waved it off. "She'll be fine. She's dramatic. Probably ran to her friends." Mr. Kalu frowned. "Arnold, I don't think you understand what you've done." Arnold laughed. "You worry too much." But as Mr. Kalu left, the echo of his words lingered. "You don't understand what you've done." May spent the next few days recovering. Jonathan visited every morning. He never asked for her full story, never judged. He just made sure she had everything she needed. The nurses liked him too. They whispered, "That man is always here. Maybe he's her brother or fiancé." But he wasn't either. Jonathan was just kind. One evening, as he helped her sit up, May sighed. I need to go back to Lagos, she said quietly. Jonathan looked surprised. Lagos? Yes, I've been hiding too long. I left something behind, something important. He studied her face. You mean family? She hesitated. Not exactly. It's more complicated. Her fingers traced the edge of her hospital blanket. Then, almost in a whisper, she said, Jonathan, my real name isn't May Adams. He frowned slightly. Then what is it? She took a deep breath. May Adebanjo. Jonathan froze. The name echoed in his mind. He'd heard it before. The Adebanjos, the oil and real estate tycoons whose empire stretched across Nigeria. He blinked. You mean the Adebanjo family? The ones whose company was attacked years ago? She nodded slowly. My parents were killed. They said it was an accident, but I know it wasn't. I had no proof, so I ran. I just wanted to live quietly. Until Arnold found me. Jonathan's face softened with shock and sympathy. So you've been living like a normal banker all this time? Yes, she said, tears welling. No one knew who I was. I just wanted peace. But I guess peace wasn't meant for me. Jonathan stood and paced slowly, rubbing his jaw. You have to take back what's yours, May. She shook her head quickly. No, I don't want money or fame. I just want to raise my baby. He looked at her gently. You're not running from your past, May. You're hiding from justice. Whoever killed your parents is still free. May swallowed hard. She knew he was right. I'll help you, he said firmly. You don't have to do this alone. Her eyes widened. Why would you help me? Because, he said softly, you remind me of someone I couldn't save. May didn't ask who. She saw the pain in his eyes and understood. That night, as Jonathan left the hospital, he made a phone call. Detective Bamidele, he said quietly, I need you to reopen a case. Adebanjo Industries accident 6 years ago. I believe it was murder. Arnold sat on his couch, flipping through TV channels. He stopped when the news anchor said, Breaking news, Adebanjo Group returns to public spotlight. Missing heiress May Adebanjo spotted in Lagos today. Sources say she intends to resume full control of her late father's empire. Arnold's mouth fell open. What? What did she just say? He leaned forward, eyes wide, heart pounding. He turned up the volume. On the screen was a photo of May, elegant, calm, wearing a navy blue dress and sunglasses as she walked into a tall glass building in Lagos. Reporters surrounded her, shouting questions. Arnold's hand began to shake. Adebanjo? No. That can't be my May. He replayed the news, staring at her picture. The same face, the same eyes, the same woman he threw out into the rain. He dropped the remote and whispered, Oh my God. Memories flooded back, the transfer alert he'd seen, the expensive jewelry she sometimes wore but claimed was fake, the accent she sometimes slipped into when angry. His hands trembled. She's a billionaire's daughter. He stood, pacing back and forth, and I threw her out. I threw out my ticket to wealth. He ran to his phone and dialed her number, but it said, Number not reachable. He tried again. Nothing. Arnold gritted his teeth. No, I'm not losing this. I'll go to Lagos myself. In Lagos, May stood in front of the tall glass skyscraper that once belonged to her parents. The building glittered under the sun, bold letters reading Adebanjo Holdings. For a long moment, she couldn't move. Memories came rushing back. Her father's laughter, her mother's perfume, the sound of board meetings echoing through the marble halls. Jonathan stood beside her, hands in pockets. You ready? May nodded slowly. Yes, it's time. As she entered the building, employees began whispering, Is that her? The missing daughter. She looks just like her mother. The managing director, Mr. Desmond, hurried down from his office, his face pale. Miss May, I thought you were gone forever. She smiled faintly. So did everyone. His eyes darted nervously. If you'd told me you were coming, I would have prepared. You don't have to prepare, she interrupted softly. I'm not here for greetings. I'm here to take back what's mine. Jonathan stood quietly behind her, watching the fear grow in Desmond's eyes. Of course, Desmond stammered, but you must understand, the company has changed. Oh, I know, May said firmly, and I intend to find out exactly how. She walked past him, head held high. For the first time since her parents' death, she wasn't running anymore. But in another part of the city, Arnold's bus was already arriving at the Lagos terminal. He stepped down with a small bag, sweat dripping down his forehead. He muttered to himself, "May, I'm coming. You'll forgive me. You have to." He didn't know yet that the woman he betrayed was no longer the same timid wife. May Adebanjo was back, and she wasn't just fighting for her future. She was about to uncover a secret that would shake the whole country. The noise of Lagos traffic filled the air, horns, shouting drivers, street hawkers balancing trays on their heads. Amid the chaos, a sleek black SUV glided through the city, heading toward Victoria Island. Inside sat Jonathan and May. May looked out the tinted window, her expression calm but her fingers fidgeted with the edge of her purse. She had never thought she'd return to Lagos this way. Not as a lost daughter, but as a woman determined to reclaim her name. Jonathan broke the silence. "You know, since you came back, the news hasn't stopped talking about you." "I noticed," May said softly. "Some call me brave, some call me lucky. But none of them know what I've really lost." Jonathan nodded. "You've lost a lot, yes. But you've also survived what most people couldn't. That means something." May turned her gaze toward him. "Do you really think we can find the people who killed my parents?" He looked at her, voice firm. "We will. I already started digging." Her eyes widened slightly. "What do you mean?" He reached into his jacket and pulled out a brown envelope. Inside were photos, burned car remains, blurry security camera stills, a few printed emails. "This," he said, "is what I got from Detective Bamidel. He's been tracking some of the names that appeared in the old company audit before the accident. There's something strange. One of the major contractors who worked with your father's company back then was called Nexon Industries." May frowned. "I've heard that name." Jonathan nodded. "It's owned by a man named Chief Roland Ease. He's powerful, wealthy, very connected." Her voice trembled slightly. "And?" Jonathan hesitated, "and he was also Arnold's biggest client at the bank." May froze. Her heart skipped a beat. "Wait, what?" Jonathan nodded again. "I checked. Before your ex-husband, married you, he had been in heavy debt. He owed over 10 million naira to Chief Roland. After he married you, the debt was mysteriously cleared." May's breath caught in her throat. No, that can't be true." Jonathan's tone was calm but heavy. "May, I think Arnold was sent to you. He didn't just fall in love. He was planted." Tears welled up in her eyes. "You mean he was part of the same people who killed my parents?" Jonathan didn't answer. His silence was enough. May looked away, her lips trembling. "I thought he was my peace. My second chance." She pressed a hand to her chest. "All this time, I was sleeping beside my enemy." Jonathan reached out gently and placed a hand on hers. "You didn't know. But now you do, and that means you can fight back." She nodded slowly, wiping her tears. "Yes, I'll fight. Not just for me, for my baby." May stood before the board of directors. The long polished table gleamed under bright lights, and the room was silent as she spoke. "From today," she said clearly, "I'm resuming my rightful position as Chief Executive Officer of Adebanjo Holdings." Gasps echoed around the room. One man whispered to another, "She's just a young woman. Does she know what she's doing?" But May ignored them. Her posture was calm, commanding. She had her mother's grace and her father's fire. "Some of you betrayed my family," she continued. "Some of you stole from this company when I disappeared. But that ends today. I'm reopening the internal audit, and anyone caught embezzling funds will face the law." Her words cut through the air like thunder. From the corner of the room, Mr. Desmond, the managing director she once trusted, swallowed hard. He forced a smile. "Of course, Madam May, we're all loyal to the company." Jonathan, standing by the door, caught the flicker of fear in Desmond's eyes. He leaned close to May later and whispered, "That man is hiding something." She nodded slightly. "I saw it too." Rain drizzled lightly as Arnold stepped out of a taxi near a luxury hotel in Victoria Island. He stared up at a billboard that showed May's face beside the bold text. May Adebanjo returns, the legacy continues. He muttered to himself. She really did it. He pulled out his cheap phone and dialed an old contact, a journalist named Benny. Benny, it's me, Arnold. Arnold? You? I thought you vanished. I need to know where May is staying. Benny laughed. Oh, now you remember your wife. You should have seen the news. People are calling her the Queen of Lagos now. Just tell me, Arnold snapped. Benny lowered his voice. Last I heard, she's staying at her late father's mansion in Ikoyi. But listen, Arnold, if I were you, I'd stay away. That woman has powerful people around her now, and word on the street is she's digging into something big. Arnold's jaw tightened. Good. Maybe I can help her dig. He ended the call and whispered, if she's rich, I can fix this. She'll forgive me once she sees I still love her. But deep down, even he didn't believe that. The next day, the rain-washed sky was clear now. The Adebanjo mansion stood tall and quiet, surrounded by palm trees and marble gates. Inside, May walked through the grand living room she hadn't seen in years. Her footsteps echoed softly across the marble floor. She touched the family portrait on the wall, her father's proud smile, her mother's gentle eyes. She whispered, I'm home, Mama. Jonathan walked in holding a folder. We've got something. What is it? He placed the folder on the glass table. Inside were printouts of old company transfers, phone call records, and one particular bank statement, signed by Arnold James. May's eyes scanned it quickly. What? What is this? Jonathan's voice was low. This shows that 2 days before your parents' car explosion, 10 million naira was transferred from Nexon Industries into your husband's personal account. May's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God. She staggered back, her heart pounding. He took money from the people who killed my parents. Jonathan nodded grimly. That's why I said he was planted. You were meant to be controlled. And when you refused to play along, they tried to destroy you. Tears streamed down May's face. I was sleeping beside the man who helped murder my family. Jonathan moved closer, his voice steady. But now we have proof. We can take this to the authorities. They'll reopen the case officially. May nodded, trembling. No, not yet. I want to see him first. Jonathan looked concerned. May, I need to look him in the eye, she said firmly, wiping her tears. He has to see what he threw away. The security guards at the gate looked at the desperate man banging on the metal bars. It was Arnold. His shirt was wrinkled, shoes muddy. Please, tell her it's me, he shouted. Tell May I need to talk to her. The guards exchanged looks. One shook his head. Sir, Madam May doesn't see visitors without appointment. She's my wife, he barked. We're married. Tell her... Before he could finish, a black SUV pulled up behind him. Jonathan stepped out first. May followed, dressed in a simple but elegant white gown. Her eyes met Arnold's, cold, distant, unreadable. He froze. For a moment he couldn't speak. May, he breathed, taking a step forward. I came to apologize. I made a mistake. Her gaze didn't soften. You threw me out into the rain, Arnold. Pregnant. Alone. I know, I wasn't myself. Please forgive me, he begged, his voice cracking. Jonathan moved closer, standing protectively beside May. Do you even know who you married, Arnold? Jonathan asked quietly. Arnold frowned. Of course I do. She's my wife. May stepped closer, her voice calm but sharp as glass. You never really knew me, Arnold. You only knew what you could take from me. He blinked, confused. What are you talking about? She looked him straight in the eyes. I'm May Adebanjo, daughter of late Chief and Mrs. Adebanjo, owner of this house, owner of Adebanjo Holdings, the same company you helped destroy. Arnold's mouth fell open. No, that's not possible. Jonathan threw a photo on the ground, the bank statement with Arnold's name and transfer from Nexon Industries. Arnold's eyes widened in horror. Where did you get this? May's voice was steady. You helped the people who murdered my parents, Arnold, and now you'll face what you deserve. She turned to walk away, her voice trembling but strong. "Next time you see me, it'll be in court." Arnold's knees gave out. He fell onto the wet pavement, staring at her in disbelief as the gate closed slowly between them. But as May entered the house, Jonathan's phone buzzed. He looked down. It was Detective Bamidel. "Jonathan, we've got a problem," the detective said urgently. "What is it?" "The man we were investigating, Chief Roland Ease. He's vanished. His house is empty. And we found something in his files. A photo of you." Jonathan froze. A cold chill ran down his spine. "What do you mean, a photo of me?" he whispered. Bamidel's voice lowered. "It seems he knows who you are. And he's watching." Jonathan's eyes darted toward the window, where the faint glimmer of a car's headlights flashed in the distance. Someone was watching the house. The night was calm. Too calm. Inside the Adebanjo mansion, the air hummed with quiet tension. The chandeliers glowed softly above, and from the nursery room down the hall came the faint rhythm of May's baby's heartbeat from the monitor beside the crib. But Jonathan couldn't sleep. He stood near the window, watching the gate outside. The headlights were gone now, but his heart still raced. He kept hearing Detective Bamidel's voice. "Chief Roland knows you. Jonathan, he had your photo." He clenched his fists. How could that be? He hadn't spoken to anyone about this case, not even about his past. May's voice broke his thoughts. "Jonathan?" He turned. She stood by the doorway, wearing a cream robe, her hair loosely tied back. Her face was tired but gentle. "You haven't slept." He forced a small smile. "Neither have you." She walked closer, looking at him curiously. "You've been acting strange since the call from the detective. What's wrong?" Jonathan hesitated. "Nothing important, just thinking about how close we're getting." May frowned slightly. "You're hiding something." He sighed. "May, please," she said softly. "After everything we've been through, don't keep things from me. I trust you." Jonathan looked away. "That's exactly why I'm scared to tell you." Before she could reply, there was a sudden crash downstairs. Glass shattered. They both froze. Jonathan grabbed his phone and whispered, "Stay here." He rushed down the staircase, barefoot but alert. The living room lights flickered. The large window had been smashed. Outside, the security guard lay on the ground, unconscious. Jonathan darted to the wall control and hit the alarm button. Sirens echoed through the estate. "Who's there?" he shouted. From the shadows, a low voice answered, "You shouldn't have reopened the past, Mr. Jonathan." A tall man in black stepped forward, face hidden under a cap. Behind him, two others followed. Jonathan's muscles tightened. "You made a mistake coming here," the man chuckled. "We're just delivering a message from Chief Roland. Tell your little heiress friend to stop digging, or she'll lose more than her parents." Jonathan's anger flared. "You dare threaten her?" The man smirked. "You're brave, just like before." Jonathan's heart skipped. "Before?" The man leaned closer, whispering, "You don't remember me, do you? You were the one who carried out Roland's dirty work 5 years ago. The driver who vanished after the accident." Jonathan's face went pale. "That's a lie." The man smiled coldly. "Then why is your photo in his files?" Before Jonathan could react, one of the men swung a metal rod. He blocked it, tackling him to the ground. A fierce struggle broke out. Chairs fell, glass shattered again. May's scream echoed from upstairs. "Jonathan!" Jonathan punched one of the intruders in the jaw, but another hit him in the back with the rod. He fell, groaning. The men fled through the broken window as security reinforcements arrived. May rushed down, her robe dragging behind her. She knelt beside Jonathan. "You're bleeding." He coughed weakly, blood at the corner of his lip. "I'm fine. I'm fine." "Who were they?" she asked, trembling. Jonathan looked away. "People who don't want us to find the truth." She gripped his hand. "Tell me what they meant, Jonathan. What did they say about you?" He hesitated, then whispered, "They said, I was the driver that night, the night your parents died." May's eyes widened. "What?" Jonathan's voice broke. "I didn't know, May. I swear I didn't know who they were until years later. I was hired to drive the truck that hit your parents' car. They said it was a cargo job. I was young, desperate." I didn't know it was a setup until it was too late. Tears filled May's eyes. Jonathan, no. I've been trying to make it right ever since, he said, voice shaking. That's why I started working with the police. That's why I helped you. I needed to undo what I helped destroy. She stood slowly, backing away. You lied to me. I was going to tell you, but you lied, she screamed, her tears flowing freely now. You made me trust you. You made me believe you cared. You should have told me from the start. He tried to stand, wincing. Please, May, listen. But she turned and ran upstairs, slamming her door. Jonathan sank to his knees, his head dropping in shame. Outside, sirens wailed as police arrived, but inside the mansion, the real storm had already begun. Detective Bamidel arrived, flashlight in hand. What happened here? Jonathan recounted everything, the break-in, the threats, the confession. Bamidel frowned deeply. If what they said is true, then Roland is more dangerous than we thought. He doesn't just have money, he controls people through their past. Jonathan clenched his fists. I won't run anymore. Good, Bamidel said, because I found something else. He handed Jonathan a flash drive. This came from one of Roland's abandoned warehouses. There are names, transaction records, and a hidden folder marked Project Emberlight. It lists every person involved in the Adebanjo hit. Jonathan's eyes widened, including the payment trail. Exactly. And guess what? One of the names linked to the final authorization is Arnold James. Jonathan's blood ran cold. Arnold again? Bamidel nodded grimly. He didn't just marry May for money, he helped plan her parents' murder. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, May sat alone in the dark nursery, the baby monitor humming softly. She held her stomach and whispered, I don't know who to trust anymore. Rain began again, pattering softly against the windows. She reached for her late father's old desk by the wall, opening a drawer she had never touched before. Inside lay a dusty envelope labeled, If something happens to us. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were letters, documents, and a single USB drive marked with her mother's handwriting. For May, truth will always find its way. May gasped, Mom! Her fingers shook as she inserted the drive into her laptop. A folder opened, filled with voice notes, photos, and one video clip. Her father's voice echoed through the speakers. If you're hearing this, my daughter, it means they've found us. Trust no one, not even those who claim to help. The enemy hides close, inside our home, inside the company. Follow the account listed in the folder named Firebird. That's where the real evidence lies. May's tears spilled freely. She whispered, Firebird. Her mother's voice followed softly. We love you, May. One day you'll finish what we started. Don't be afraid. May wiped her face, determination burning in her eyes. Then I'll finish it, Mama, she said under her breath. But as she closed the laptop, she didn't notice the shadow moving outside her window, a man watching her through the rain. A faint red light blinked on his phone as he whispered, She's found the drive. Notify the chief. The next morning, the clouds over Lagos were dark and heavy, but inside May's heart, a quiet fire burned. She had cried all night, not because she was weak, but because she was done being afraid. She now understood that every tear, every betrayal, every storm had led her here, to the moment her family's killers would finally be unmasked. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her reflection no longer showed the broken woman who had once begged her husband in the rain. It showed a woman who had risen, strong, calm, unstoppable. She slipped into a navy blue suit, tied her hair neatly, and whispered, For you, Mama. For you, Papa. Downstairs, early morning. Jonathan sat by the couch, his arm bandaged from the night's fight. He hadn't slept either, and his eyes were heavy with guilt. When May appeared at the staircase, he stood up slowly. May, she paused, studying him. For a moment, the silence between them hurt more than words. Then she said softly, I know you didn't kill them intentionally, Jonathan. You were used, just like I was. He blinked in surprise. You believe me? She nodded. Yes, and I need you now, more than ever. He exhaled in relief, emotion flooding his face. Then tell me what to do. May placed the flash drive in his hand. We finish what they started. We expose Project Emberlight. The massive boardroom was filled. Cameras from major news stations lined the back wall. Journalists whispered, flashes clicked. On one side sat May, her face composed and steady. Next to her were Jonathan and Detective Bamidel. On the other side, Chief Roland Ease, in his expensive dark agbada and coral beads. His face wore a smug smile, like a man too powerful to be touched. Beside him sat Arnold, dressed neatly for the first time in weeks, trying to appear calm but visibly sweating. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the investigative panel began. We are here today to discuss the reopened Adebanjo case, following new evidence of foul play in the death of the late Chief and Mrs. Adebanjo. The air was thick with tension. Chief Roland leaned forward with a smirk. This is nonsense. The Adebanjos died in an accident. Let's not waste everyone's time. May looked at him sharply. An accident you paid for. Gasps filled the room. Roland chuckled. Young lady, be careful what you say. Jonathan stood, holding a laptop connected to the screen projector. We have evidence, Chief. The projector blinked on. The first image appeared, a scanned bank document showing N10 million transfer from Nexon Industries to Arnold James, dated 2 days before the crash. Murmurs erupted. Reporters began scribbling furiously. Jonathan clicked again. A video played, security footage showing Chief Roland meeting a man in a dark garage, handing him a brown envelope. The camera zoomed on the man's face. It was Arnold. Chief Roland's smirk faded instantly. Fake, you forged this, he shouted. May's voice was calm but cutting. Then maybe you can explain this one too. She clicked the final file, a recording from her father's private archive hidden inside the Firebird folder. Her late father's voice filled the room. If this message is found, it means we were right. Roland Ease and his associates have infiltrated Adebanjo Holdings. They've planned our deaths to take control, protect May. She is the future of this legacy. For a long moment there was silence. Even the journalists stopped writing. Roland's face turned pale. Detective Bamidel stood. Chief Roland Easy, you are under arrest for conspiracy, murder, and corporate sabotage. As officers stepped forward, Roland tried to rise. You can't touch me. I have power. I own... Jonathan interrupted coldly. You own nothing now. The officers cuffed him as cameras flashed non-stop. Arnold stood frozen, eyes wide in horror. May, please, I didn't know it would go this far. May turned to him slowly. Her face was calm, almost sad. You didn't just betray me, Arnold. You destroyed every chance of peace I had. He dropped to his knees. Please, I loved you. I was desperate. She shook her head. Love doesn't throw a woman into the rain. 2 officers grabbed him, leading him away. As he passed her, he whispered, You'll regret this. But May didn't even blink. Her silence was stronger than any curse. The rain had stopped, and golden sunlight poured through the clouds. May stood in the garden her parents once loved, holding her baby in her arms, a tiny girl with big, curious eyes. Jonathan approached quietly, a soft smile on his face. She's beautiful. May nodded. Her name is Ella. He smiled. Ella means light. She turned to him, her eyes warm. Yes, because she was born from darkness, but she brought light back into my life. They both stood quietly for a moment, watching the baby giggle. Jonathan sighed. I'll be leaving soon. The police need me to testify about my role. After that, I might leave the country. May looked at him, her eyes glistening. You don't have to run anymore. You helped make things right. He smiled faintly. Still, some ghosts don't let you rest. She stepped closer, holding his hand gently. Then at least know this, you are forgiven. He looked down, his eyes wet. That's more than I deserve. She smiled softly. Maybe, but it's what you need. They both looked out at the horizon as the last bit of sun touched the mansion roof. The Adebanjo Empire was safe again. Justice had been served, and though May's scars would never truly fade, she had turned her pain into power, her tears into triumph. She kissed Ella's forehead and whispered, You'll grow in truth, not fear. In today's business headlines, May Adebanjo, the billionaire daughter who once disappeared, has fully taken control of Adebanjo Holdings. She announced the creation of the Adebanjo Foundation for Women and Justice, aimed at supporting victims of abuse and wrongful accusation across Nigeria. When asked about her motivation, she simply said, "Because every woman deserves to be heard, even in the rain." Months later, Jonathan sat quietly at a beachside cafe, reading the newspaper. The headline showed May smiling with her daughter at a charity event. He smiled faintly, whispering, "You did it, May." Then he placed the paper aside, watching the sunset fade into the ocean. For the first time in years, he felt peace. Back in Lagos, May stood on her balcony, holding Ella as the breeze danced through their hair. The city lights glowed below, and in the distance, thunder rolled softly, not a warning anymore, but a reminder. A reminder that no storm lasts forever. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for amazing videos.